What's up, LEGO builders? Welcome back to Coconut Brick Studios. Now, most of my tutorial videos showcase easy to build techniques that don't require many, if any, special parts. But today, I'm gonna kick things up a notch and show you 5 advanced techniques, some of which you may not have ever seen before, that you can use in your LEGO Mocs. Not only to improve them, but expand the types of parts that you are using and flex your skills as a Moc builder. If you want to take your Moc building sessions to the next level, don't forget to execute order 66 on that like button, and let's get started. First, I'm gonna start with a corrugated tin roof technique I found on Tips and Bricks Instagram page. Start by stacking 4x12 rows of plate on top of each other so that 2 studs are exposed on each row. This will make up the base of your roof, so pick their color accordingly. Once it is done, place down 1x2 plate every other stud on each of the rows. I went with light bluish gray for a neutral color tone. In between the plates, place 1x2 tiles on each of the rows. These will be slightly visible, so make sure to pick a dark color. Now we get to the colorful part. Place down 1x2 tiles on top of the plates on each row. These will dictate the color of my roof, so I'm using bright green. Once they're all on, you get this nice shingled look that you can use as a finished roof, but I'm not stopping here. Next, on top of the filler tiles, place some round Technic pin connectors and make sure these are the same color as the tiles. This step will require some patience because those pin connectors aren't sitting on anything, so they tend to get knocked off or roll around and fall. Now you have a way to build some vibrant corrugated tin roofs for your houses, small sheds, or other small buildings. Another use could be as a roof for some kind of produce or display stand if you're making some kind of LEGO market. One thing I would recommend is to make your roof length an odd number. That way there will be a row of tile on both edges of the roof instead of just the one. This will help keep the pin connectors in place. Next up is a camo net. Start with the LEGO net piece and stick a round 1x1 plate under one of the holes and then add another stud on top of it. Repeat this process until the net is covered to your liking. If you're low on studs, you can also use some round 1x2 plates for the underside, but use these sparingly as their larger size will make the net more rigid. There is no set technique for what colors to use or what kind of pieces, so there are lots of different possibilities, but I would recommend sticking to just 3, maybe 4 colors for the top so it looks more realistic and to help you create a better looking pattern. I also like to leave holes at random spots on the net to make it look more weathered. I used this technique in my Jabim Moc and loved it. It is a great way to build something that has a lot more flexibility and shape-shifting potential than a typical LEGO build. Here you can see I set up as a camouflage tent to cover up supplies, and I've also used it as a blanket to cover up a sniper's nest. I think it would also work well in a winter camo style. This next technique requires only one piece, but a lot of them. Start with a 2x3 wedge plate. Doesn't matter what side it is. Connect another one to the base and tip of that first wedge plate. Then take another wedge plate and put it on top of the ones you just placed down. Repeat this process over and over until you have enough to create a circle of the size you want. Connect the end of your wedge plate line to where you started building and bend and move it around until you have a circle shape in the center. I've only been able to use this technique once, but I would really like to use it again. It has a very unique looking build, and the circle it creates is not common to shapes typically made by LEGO bricks. A couple of uses I thought up could be some kind of gate or waypoint to another time or dimension, a fancy window frame for a building or structure of some kind, or even a small simple well with some trans blue studs inside to make up the water. Next, I'm going to make a stone or sandbag barricade wall. I got the idea from Detroitica on Instagram, a very talented Moc builder. Connect the bases of some LEGO levers to a modified 1x1 with a round head on the end. Repeat this process until you have about 12. Next, get a 1x8 plate and stick those little builds you just finished on every other stud, and fill in the hole between each of them with a 1x1 plate. Once you're finished with that row, add another 1x8 plate and repeat on top, and repeat this process until you get to the height that you want. Then stick some 2x plate underneath and some 1x bricks on the side. You may need to take out some of the lever bases so the 1x2s can be connected snugly to your build. Add a row of 1x2 tile across the top. This might be the most visually appealing technique of this video. I like to think of the little round bricks as sandbags, but I can also see them as bricks or any kind of building block. You could build any size of wall you want and even create a whole bunker using this technique. The last one is by far the hardest technique, and I still really struggle to build it. It's a design pattern built into a floor or platform. Start by connecting a 1x2x3 inverted slope to a normal one with a 1x3 tile. Repeat this 8 times and then take 2 regular slopes and connect them with a 1x2 plate. Next, place them down in the hole where you want the pattern to be. To be honest, I have a really hard time explaining how to connect all of the pieces together and create the right lengths and shapes for everything to fit. So I would just recommend watching this part over and over until you can figure it out. The building process and parts needed also change depending on how big or how wide you want this design to be. So what I'm currently doing might not work for you and you might have to adjust accordingly. Many of you will recognize this as the platform I used in my large-scale Utapau mock. I built two and this was the smaller one. While very tough to build correctly, this design is worth it and creates a pattern that looks very complex and defies what is usually possible when building with Lego. I got this idea from another Utapau mock I found a long time ago while I was working on mine. This video was a challenge to make, not only because some of the techniques were hard to replicate, but also because I had to search far and wide to compile just these 5. But I hope you were able to learn some new techniques you hadn't seen before or have been wanting to build. If you have any other tutorials you'd like to see me do, let me know down below in the comments, and don't forget to tell me which of these techniques was your favorite and I will catch you next time, but until then, happy building.